Welcome back, everyone, to the Pikmins. In the last episode, I was complaining about whiskey and other alcoholic glasses. We will not be complaining about that in this episode because I refuse to do so again. There's a lot of stuff that I would love to talk to you about in regards to this book I bought. They're called Mr. Boston's Official Bartender Guide. That's as old as I am, or nearly as old as I am. Book's actually a little bit younger than I am by about a couple months. In this episode, we're going to talk about why you don't put rings on your fingers when they're swollen, and then expect your ring to come off like a normal person. And by that I mean I have a ring on my finger for some unknown reason. I thought it'd be cool. And then I went like this and made a fist with my hand and went to try to take the ring off and couldn't do it because my knuckle's too big. However, in this episode we're going to go after the yellow Pikmin. Because the last episode I mentioned I need the yellow Pikmin to get the blue Pikmin. So that's our goal, is to get the yellow Pikmin. Which I believe we have a pretty good strategy to do so. The strategy is going to consume, as you can see, red and white Pikmin. The red Pikmin, I bought a lot of red Pikmin in the off chance that for some reason they all die, which they did not. Send that back. That's a blue 5. I'm not sure why I'd have a blue Pikmin at this point, but maybe there's something about Pikmin 2 I don't know or don't understand, but long story short, I cannot go in the water with the current Pikmin. However, I can kill whatever these leaf-type bugs are. So, what we're gonna do here is, we're sort of pissing around at the moment, but plan is to go up and around, because I do need both color of Pikmin that I've picked up so far in order to progress. The red Pikmin are important because I'm gonna fight a red dude, a guy who shoots fireballs out of his butthole. And then I need the white Pikmin because I'm gonna run into a poison wall. So yeah, and that is why we are doing both. I don't know why I find rings so interesting, though. I know I'm not talking about Pikmin at the moment, but I don't know why I find them so interesting. I mean, most men will basically wear one ring their entire life. And if given the opportunity, particularly in this modern era, where my brother is married but never wears his wedding ring, nor does my boss, who I work for at my company, ever wear, even though he's been married for like 25 years, never once have I seen him wear his wedding ring. Because it's, I don't know the reason. Perhaps he thinks it's gay. You know, it's a homosexual thing. Only homosexuals wear rings. Only weirdos wear rings. But he never wears I know he's been married for many, many years. He's got 2 grown children at this point. Adult children, that is. Yeah, he never wears his engagement ring, you know. Like I said, maybe because he thinks it's gay or something, I don't know. Also, this was not ideal. I left about 13 Pikmin on the ground here. And then I split them up and they all dropped to the ground like a fucking ass. Alright, let's actually throw these guys up here. Bluey's up top. Louie is up top. I'm gonna keep calling him Bluey, because every time he says his name it sounds like Bluey. Louie. No, it's Louie. Why? Because the Japanese have problems with their L's. Why wouldn't they have problems with their L's? It's a weird sound. It only apparently exists in like 5% of languages or something. The EL sound. We talked about this in a different series, different episode. Yes, we are going to take this guy out because we know him from Pikmin 1. He is an asshole. He will eat my Pikmin and then bury them. Well, he won't actually eat them. He just picks them up and throws them back into the earth, I believe. However, I'm not interested in playing with him today. So, that is the end of him. But in regards to rings, I don't know. I always thought they were kind of nifty. You know, a lot of the stuff I think are nifty is based on, like, being a little kid and, you know, going to, like, events that my grandfather and grandparents were at, you know, where all of, you know, their generation wasn't, it was waning, but it wasn't waning. It's kind of waning, like, in the regards to, think about, if you have them, think about your parents or grandparents, and they're in their late 60s, early 70s. You know, have they lost classmates since they graduated? Yes, of course they have. I've lost classmates, and I'm but 40 years old. You know, half, you know, a little less than half that age. But my point that I'm trying to make here is, yes, they've lost, you know, people, cancer, drugs, alcohol, what have you, suicide. And I'm not gonna try to diminish any of that. But a lot of their contemporaries are still alive, you know, the people that are roughly their same age, within a couple years. And so you have these gatherings, whether they be Christmas or New Year's or in the middle of the summer, you have a picnic. You go there and you celebrate it as a community, which I'm sure there are a lot of communities around that still do that. It just feels like sort of something that's been lost in the following generation. You know, it's easy to blame boomers for everything because they suck, you know, but I'm not gonna necessarily lay this on them. You know, because as you go from being, you know, a working adult to a retired adult, your priorities can change. And with the excess of money that you may be getting from your retirement / Social Security, maybe perhaps that pushes you, you know, to want to spend more time with family members. You know, because you got all this extra free time, so you can make these plans to have these parties. Of course, there's no guarantee that any of that's true, either. Let's pick up some yellow Pikmin. Pikmin. I intentionally did Pokemon the first time, and then unironically chose Pokemon the second time. Because I'm an idiot. The yellow Pikmin have climbed down the tree and are staring in our direction. They appear to like high places. They seem quite light. They also have quite large ears. If I had named them, they'd be called Ear Pikmin. But I will use the name Olimar gave them, which is based on their color. Curious, my static electricity sensors are reacting violently. What could this mean? It means that between Pikmin 1 and Pikmin 2, we took away the ability for yellow Pikmin to carry bombs. Because we decided we didn't want them to do that anymore because they were overpowered or something to that extent. So instead, what we're going to do is, no, that red means you're going to Red Palace. I don't want you going to Red Palace. I want you going to Yellow Palace. Please go to Yellow Palace. I need more yellow Pokemon. Pikmin. God damn it, I'm doing it still. Like, I'm not even doing it like it's a haha funny, let's troll the audience thing. I'm doing it as like, I keep calling them Pokemon because the first P-O or the P-I, Pikmin, Pook, too close. Anyways. Anywho. There's lots of stuff out there that I'm looking to do here in the near future. One of which is obviously beating this game. But I don't know. I was able this past weekend, I did not visit the family because the family was away. They were in the middle of the state of PA They were at a gathering on my soon-to-be brother-in-law's side. And, I don't know. For whatever reason, my mom didn't want me to go. I guess because it would not make sense for me to drive out to the middle of the state, go to the party, and then drive back from the middle of the state. It would be like a, I don't know. Say it's about a 4 or 5 hour drive one way. So she didn't want me to do that, and I didn't really want to stay over either. So this weekend I basically did everything that I have been putting off for the past, I don't know, 6 months to a year, I want to say. Yeah, it's probably less than a year, but it's probably greater than, it's definitely longer than 6 months. Because 6 months would push us back into November-ish. So, obviously my parents were around in the winter. But, guess what I'm trying to get at is I was able to do a lot of the around my house stuff that I've been meaning to get at. And I don't mean like cutting my grass. I did cut my grass, but that's like something I would... If I didn't do it today, it'd get done to, you know, sometime this week, coming week. So it wouldn't be that big of a deal to skip cutting the grass, but I've been meaning to do a number of stupid shit around my house, including I wanted to replace the vents on my, you know, because my vents kind of looked old and rusty and fucking stupid. So I replaced all the vents in my house. You know, not the vents that go... So, in my old house, when I first grew up, there were vents that came up directly out of the floor, okay? Flat floor vent. When I moved into the newer house, as well as the house that I bought and own, they have vents that come out of the wall. Sort of like, you know, you have your wall, and at a 45-degree angle is where the vent's coming out. So whoever lived in the house previously bought vents. Vents are such a fucking cheap piece of shit, it's not even funny. In order to get... I was trying to get the old vents out, and by doing so, it felt like I was bending the old vents, because they're made of this very thin aluminum material. And then that, of course, means that as you're putting in the new vents, you gotta be super careful, because they're apparently made of the thinnest, most malleable aluminum or some sort of other metal. I assume it's aluminum because of how thin and light it is. As you're trying to fucking install the stupid thing, you're worried about bending it. I don't know. I'm complaining about nothing. And then I cleaned my whole house. But in doing so, I realized there was a lot of stuff I wanted to throw out, which I did. There's a lot more stuff that I probably should throw out that I haven't done so yet because I haven't looked at it yet. I went to plug in I went to plug in one of the lights. Found out the cord won't stay inside the plug. Went to replace the plug. Now the plug doesn't work. Not sure what I did wrong. I basically took the plug, the old plug, pulled it out, took the wires, you know, snipped off the ends, took the, you know, the stuff off, the covering off of it, so I'd have fresh contacts. I had a fresh outlet, like I said. I take off the black wire, I install in the same spot on the new plug. Take off the white wire, install in the same place on the new plug. Take off the ground, install in the exact same place as the ground was on the new plug. And then I go back downstairs, turn on the breaker, try to test the stupid plug. It doesn't work anymore. I don't know what the fuck I did wrong. Hurry, gather thine Pikmin, for there is not much time. Do not gather them quickly, they will all die. I have placed the Pikmin that I own in here. Let us switch over to blue. Yes, you need to pick up all these Pikmin. Send them home. No, don't do that. You idiot. Black Pikmin, go back home. Yay! I sent the darker, purple and white Pokemon back. Pikmin back. I like how the music changes depending on if Louie or Pikmin's currently in control. Also, Pikmin's wearing red and Louie's wearing blue, which brings up the never-ending question. Is the main character truly supposed to be red or blue? That goes back and forth depending on which game you're playing. Today's report. You've earned no money today. That's gonna make the boss very angry. But you did gain some Pokemon, or Pikmin. Everything except white Pikmin went up. Just took a call from my loan agent. He was the scariest voice I ever heard while you two are dawdling around, hanging by the thread. Get to work, slackers. Alright, I'm gonna cut the episode. When we come back, we are going to be doing more Pikmin. We're gonna go get our blue Pikmin this time, as well as probably dump into some holes. But until then, have a good one.